Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Goal number 1, poverty. Eradicating poverty in all its forms remains one of the greatest challenges facing humanity. While the number of people living in extreme poverty dropped by more than half between 1990 and 2015, too many are still struggling for the most basic human needs. As of 2015, about 736 million people still live on less than $1.90 a day. Many lack food, clean drinking water, and sanitation. China and India has lifted millions out of poverty, but progress has been uneven. Women are more likely to be poor than men because they have less paid work, education, and own less property. Progress has also been limited in other regions, such as South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, which account for 80% of those living in extreme poverty. New threats brought on by climate change, conflict, and food security mean even more work is needed to bring people out of poverty. The SDGs are bold commitment to finish what we started and end poverty in all forms and dimensions by 2030. This involves targeting the most vulnerable, increasing basic resources and services, and supporting communities affected by conflict and climate-related disasters. Goal number 2, zero hunger. The number of undernourished people has dropped by almost half in the past 2 decades because of rapid economic growth and increase of agricultural productivity. Many developing countries that used to suffer from famine and hunger can now meet their nutritional needs. Central and East Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean have all made huge progress in eradicating extreme hunger. Unfortunately, extreme hunger and malnutrition remain a huge barrier to development in many countries. There are 821 million people estimated to be chronically undernourished as of 2017, often as a direct consequence of environment degradation, drought, and biodiversity loss. Over 90 million children under 5 are dangerously underweight. Undernourishment and severe food insecurity appear to be increasing in almost all regions of Africa as well as in South America. The SDGs aim to end all forms of hunger and malnutrition by 2030. Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Good health is essential to sustainable development, and the 2030 agenda reflects the complexity and interconnectedness of the two. It takes into account widening economic and social inequalities, rapid urbanization, threats to the climate and the environment, the continuing burden of HIV and other infectious disease, and emerging challenges such as non-communicable diseases. Universal health coverage will be integral to achieving SDG 3, ending poverty and reducing inequalities. Emerging global health priorities not explicitly included in the SDGs, including antimicrobial resistance, also demand action. But the world is off track to achieve the health-related SDGs. Progress has been uneven both between and within countries. There are 31-year gap between the countries with the shortest and longest life expectancies. And while some countries have made impressive gains, national averages hide that many are being left behind. Multi-sectoral, rights-based, and gender-sensitive approaches are essential to address inequalities and to build good health for all. Goal number 4, quality education. Since 2000, there has been enormous progress in achieving the target of universal primarily education. The total enrollment rate in developing regions reached 91% in 2015, and the worldwide number of children out of school has dropped by almost half. There has also been a dramatic increase in literacy rates, and many more girls are in school than ever before. These are all remarkable successes. Progress has also been tough in some developing regions due to high levels of poverty, armed conflicts, and other emergencies. In Western Asia and North Africa, ongoing armed conflict has seen an increase in the number of children out of school. This is a worrying trend, while Sub-Saharan Africa made the greatest progress in primary school enrollment among all developing regions. From 52% in 1990 up to 78% in 2012, large disparities still remain. Children from the poorest households are up to 4 times most likely to be out of school than those of the richest households. Disparities between rural and urban areas also remain high. Achieving inclusive and quality education for all reaffirms the belief that education is one of the most powerful and proven vehicles for sustainable development. This goal ensures that all girls and boys complete free primary and secondary schooling by 2030. It also aims to provide equal access to affordable vocational training to eliminate gender and wealth disparities and achieve universal access to a quality higher education. Goal number 5, gender equality. Ending all discriminations against women and girls is not only a big human right, it is crucial for sustainable future. It's proven that empowering women and girls helps economic growth and development. The UNDP has made gender equality central to its work, and we've seen remarkable progress in the past 20 years. There are more girls in school now compared to 15 years ago, and most regions have reached gender parity in primary education. But although there are more women than ever in the labor market, there are still large inequalities in some regions, with women systematically denied the same works right as men. Sexual violence and exploitation, the unequal division of unpaid care and domestic work, and discrimination in public office all remain huge barriers. Climate change and disasters continue to have a disproportionate effect on women and children, as do conflict and migration. It is vital to give women equal rights, land, property, sexual and reproductive health, and to technology and the internet. Today, there are more women in public office than ever before, but encouraging more women leaders will help achieve greater gender equality. Goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. Water scarcity affects more than 40% of people, an alarming figure that is projected to rise as temperature too. Although 21 billion people have improved water sanitation since 1990, drinking water supplies are affecting every continent. More and more countries are experiencing water stress and increasing drought, and desertification is already worsening. These trends, by 2050, it is projected that at least 1 in 4 people will suffer recurring water shortages. Safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030 requires we invest in adequate infrastructure that will provide sanitation facilities and encourage hygiene. Protecting and restoring water-related ecosystems is very, very essential.
Number 7, affordable and clean energy. Ensure access of affordable and reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. In between year 2000 and 2018, the number of people with electricity increased from 78 to 90%, and the numbers without electricity dipped to 789 million. Gayunpaman, habang ang populasyon ay patuloy na lumalaki, gayon din ang pangangailangan para sa murang enerhiya. At ng isang ekonomiyang umaasa sa fossil fuel ay lumilikha ng matinding pagbabago sa ating klima. At kung gusto nating makamit ang SDG number 7, we should investing in solar, wind, and thermal power that will help improve energy productivity and ensuring energy for all. Also, expanding structure and upgrading technology to provide clean and more efficient energy in all countries will encourage growth and help the environment. Number 8 is decent work and economic growth. This SDG promotes sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full of productive employment and decent work of all. Over the past 25 years, the number of workers living extreme poverty has declined dramatically, despite the lasting impact of the 2008 economic crisis and global recession. In developing countries, the middle class now makes up more than 34% of total employment, a number that has almost tripled between 1991 and 2015. However, as the global economy continues to recover, we are seeing slower growth, widening inequalities, and not enough jobs to keep up with a growing labor force. According to the International Labour Organization, more than 204 million people were unemployed in 2015. Kung kaya't, ang SDGs ay nagtataguyod ng patuloy na paglago ng ekonomiya, mas mataas na antas ng produktibidad at teknolohikal, na pagbabago ang paghihikayat ng entrepreneurship at paglikha ng trabaho ay susi dito. Gayon din, ang epektibong hakbang upang mapuksa ang sapilitang nagpagawa, pang-aalipin at human trafficking. Layunin din itong makamit ang ganap na produktibong trabaho at disenteng trabaho para sa lahat ng kababaihan at kalalakihan sa pagsapit ng taong 2030. Number 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The SDGs build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Investment in infrastructure and innovation are crucial drivers of economic growth and development, with over half the world's population now living in cities. Mass transport and renewable energy are becoming ever more important, as are the growth of new industries and information and communication technologies. Ang pang-unlad ng teknolohiya ay susi din sa paghahanap ng mga pangmatagalang solusyon sa parehong hamon sa ekonomiya at kapaligiran, tulad ng pagbibigay ng mga bagong trabaho at pagtataguyod ng kahusayan sa enerhiya. Ang pagtataguyod ng napapanatiling industriya at pamumuhunan ng sayentipikong pananaliksik at pagbabago ay mahalagang paraan upang mapadali at mapanatili ng pag-unlad. At sa kasalukuyan, more than 4 billion people still do not have access to the internet, and 90% are from the developing world. Bridging this digital divide is crucial to ensure equal access to information and knowledge, as well as foster innovation and entrepreneurship. Number 10, reduce inequalities. This SDG ensures the reduced inequalities within among countries. Income inequality is one. The richest 10% have up to 40% of global income, whereas the poorest 10% earn only between 2 to 7%. If we take into account population growth inequality in developing countries, inequality has increased by 11%. Ito yung baga, masasabi nating mayaman ay lalong yumayaman. Samantala, ang mahihirap ay lalong naghihirap. Income inequality has increased in nearly everywhere in recent decades, but at the different speeds. It's lowest in Europe and highest in the Middle East. These widening disparities require sound policies to empower lower income and earners and promote economic inclusion of all regardless of sex, race, and ethnicity. Kung kaya't ang hindi pagkapantay-pantay ng kita ay nangangailangan ng mga pandaigdigang solusyon. Kabilang dito ang pagbubuti ng regulasyon at pagsasabay sa mga pamilihan at institusyon pinansyal, paghihikayat ng tulong sa pagpapaunlad at direktang pamumuhunan ng dayuhan sa mga rehiyon kung saan higit ang pangangailangan. Number 11. Sustainable cities and communities. This SDG makes the cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Mahigit kalahati sa atin ay nakatira sa mga lungsod. Pagsapit ng 2050, almost 23rd ng lahat ng sangkatawan o 6 bilyong tao ay magiging urban. Ang sustainable development ay hindi makakamit ng walang kabuluhang pagbabago sa paraan ng pagbuo at pamamahala ng ating mga urban space. The rapid growth of cities, a result of rising population and increasing migration, has led to a boom in megacities, especially in the developing world, and slums are becoming a more significant feature of urban life. Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilient societies and economies. It involved investment in public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in participatory and inclusive ways.
Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. This SDG will ensure sustainable consumption and production pattern. Achieving economic growth and sustainable development requires that we are urgently reduce an ecological footprint by changing the way we produce and consume goods and resources. Agriculture is the biggest user of water worldwide, and irrigation now claims to close 70% of all fresh water for human use. Sinasabi rito na ang mahusay na pamamahala ng ating likas na yaman at tamang pamamaraan ng pagtatapon ng basura ay mahalagang gampanin upang makamit natin ang layuning ito. At ang paghihikayat sa mga industriya, negosyo at mga mamimili na mag-recycle at bawasan ang basura ay kapwang mahalaga. Goal number 13, climate action. This SDG takes urgent to combat climate and its impact. Walang bansang hindi nakakaranas ng matinding epekto ng pagbabago ng klima. Ang emisyon ng greenhouse gas ay higit sa 50% mas mataas kaysa sa noong 1990. Ang pag-init ng mundo ay nagdudulot ng pangmatagalang pagbabago ng ating sistema ng klima na nagbabanta sa atin ng hindi magandang epekto kung hindi tayo kikilos. Supporting vulnerable region will directly contribute not only to Goal 13, but also to the other SDGs. This action must go hand in hand with efforts and integrate disaster risk measures, sustainable natural resources management, and human security into national development strategies. Goal number 14, life below water. This SDG is important to conserve sustainable use of ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Over 3 billion people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihoods. However, today we are seeing 30% of the world's fish stocks overexploited, reaching below the level at which they can produce sustainable yields. Kung kaya't, ang SDG na ito ay naglalayo ng patuloy na pangasiwaan at protektahan ng ating mga marine and coastal biodiversity or ecosystem mula sa polusyon. Gayon din ang pagtugon sa mga epekto ng pag-aasido ng karagatan at magpapahusay sa konserbasyon at magpapanatili ng maayos na paggamit ng mapagkukunang yaman sa karagatan. At sa pamamagitan ng internasyonal na batas ay makakatulong din na mabawasan ang ilan sa mga hamon na kinakaharap ng ating karagatan. Goal number 15, Life on Land. This SDG protects and promotes sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. Human life depends on Earth as much as the ocean for sustenance and livelihood. Plants' life provides 80% of human diet, and we rely on agriculture as an important economic resources. Forests cover 30% of the Earth's surface, provides vital habitat for 1 million of species, and important resources for clean air and water, as well as being crucial for combating climate change. Bilang agarang aksyon, ang dapat natin gawin upang mabawasan ang pagkawala ng mga likas na tirahan at biodiversity na bahagi na ng ating buhay ay sumuporta sa pandaigdigang seguridad sa pagkain at tubig, pagpapagaan at pag-aangkop sa pagbabago ng klima at higit sa lahat, kapayapaan at seguridad para sa lahat. Goal number 16, Peace, Justice, and a Strong Institution. This SDG promotes peaceful and inclusive society for sustainable development. We cannot hope for sustainable development without peace, stability, human rights, and effective governance. It is based on the rule of law. Yet, our world is increasingly divided. Some regions enjoy peace, security, and prosperity, while others fall into seemingly endless cycle of conflict and violence. Kung kaya't, marapat lamang na isulong natin ang SDG na ito to reduce all forms of violence and work with governments and communities to end conflict and insecurity. Promoting the rule of law and human rights are the key to this progress, as it is reduce the flow of illicit arms and strengthening the participation of developing countries in the institutions of global governance. Goal number 17, Partnership for the Goals. This is the last SDG which strengthened the means of implementation and revitalized the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development. The SDG can only be realized with a strong global partnership and cooperation. The world is more interconnected than ever. Improving access to technology and knowledge is an important way to share ideas and foster innovation. Coordinating policies to help developing countries manage their debt, as well as promoting investment for the least developed, is vital for sustainable development and growth. Layunin nito na pahusayin ang North to South at South to South na kooperasyon sa pamamagitan ng pagsuporta sa mga pambansang plano upang makamit ang lahat ng mga target. Ang pagtataguyod ng internasyonal na kalakalan at pagtulong sa mga umuunlad na bansa na pataasin ang kanilang pag-export ay bahagi lahat ng pagkamit ng universal na nakabatay sa mga patakaran at patas na sistema ng kalakalan, patas na bukas at nakikinabang ang lahat.